What do you think is the biggest difference between those two businesses? Is it just the amount of problems that it's being solved, or what would you say is the biggest difference there?
I'll preface this, but there's a lot of luck, and luck equals preparedness. Preparedness meets opportunity. So and then there's just dumb luck sometimes. But usually it's preparedness meets opportunity. So the person was prepared, recognized the opportunities, therefore they deserved it. Finders keepers. They're the first to move on it. My buddy Howie, for example, is one of the first to move on e-cigs, and built a $1 billion exit. Very successful, nice guy, love him to death, and first to move, right? And that guy creates his own luck, and so he stays prepared, and he's constantly filtering opportunities. And when he's all in, and just goes after it, right? So I think that timing has a lot to do with that as well. If you were raising money for AI a year ago and you had something that actually was dope, you could raise $1 billion, right? It's who you know, and it's all those things, right? I think it's also so timing, and then total addressable market. I mean, you don't have to have that many customers to build a $100 million business if it's B2B even, for example. But there's a company yesterday at our awards ceremony. They do roofing supplies, and they have 4,000 roofers and roofing companies they sell supplies to. They went from 8 million to 550 million in 10 years. Wow. And it's like, who would have thought, so it's all over the place. Every business can be a $100 million business. I mean, essentially, right? If the addressable market's large enough, or it's growing to be large enough. So I think the product or service you choose is important as well. So if you're doing like book write, I'm going to do a book writing service for vets who are 71 years old only, that live in Alabama once, but now live in Arizona. And I'm not taking any other client. And you're like, well, okay, go for it, right? Start there. You can always expand. Fine. But if you're choosing something that's got a large enough addressable market, and I think addressable market is not just the size of the market, it's addressable, which means that you have a service that is that much better. You have to be substantially better usually than, even if you have a cleaning service, you've got to be substantially better, or however that looks, service-wise, communication, whatever. Or you have to have some innovation that drives price down, right? So you've invented a way to make things cost 10 times less, and now you're offering that to a large market. So when we look at those success stories across the board, right, from AI to Vital Proteins, collagen, great timing. Kurt's phenomenal, genius. But they pivoted early on. So I think you have to create your own luck by spotting the opportunities, creating those opportunities. Think 2 years out of who you want to be and start acting that way now. So you go, all right, 2 years from now, how does Josh walk 2 years from now? How do I talk? How do I sit? What do I do? Am I wearing a hat? Am I not? You just figure all those things out, and you go, I'm just going to start doing it tomorrow. And I'm going to tell people that's what I do. And so you kind of have to manifest to a certain degree, because people will help you then. But I think the big differentiator is timing, addressable market, and then is the product or service, GoPro, nuts, right? Like when that happened, there's nothing like it. It's crazy. The drone companies, everybody bought a drone at some point, but the general population, the early adopter crowd has kind of waned out, and you don't see so many people walking around or anyone walking around with an Oculus Rift on their head. So it's like, there's a balance, right? I bought the Google Glass for $2,000 when it first came out, and the thing gave me headaches. It almost exploded on my head. It was so hot in my temples. And I put it back on eBay. I sold it because it was just, and that was a long time ago. But you kind of have to figure that out, right? So it's like there are these trends, but you don't want to mistake. I learned this from Jason at 37 Signals from Basecamp. To identify the signals from the noise. And so that takes time. That takes wisdom, which comes from experience, yours and other people's. And so one of the best ways to learn from other people's is to listen to content like this, reading books and consuming that rich content, so that you don't have to touch the hot stove too many times, and you just kind of know where that is. Then you can create your own luck better and better.